We are sailing north, heading towards one of the most unique destinations on this coast, the inhabited ghost town of Ocean Falls. Ocean Falls was, by all accounts, a really lovely place to live. There were these really nice homes, a once thriving community that now stands desolate but not entirely empty, isolated on this remote stretch of Canadian coastline. To get there, we are sailing up the Inside Passage, where the weather changes on a whim. I wasn't expecting such a beautiful and warm sailing day.
I can see the rain, it's coming.
Join us for the journey to the remote town of Ocean Falls.
I don't think I've ever been so intrigued to arrive to a place and see what on earth is going on there. This is really creepy. I don't like this. I don't think I want to go in.
We're on our way north. On board our Cape George Cutter 36 is my husband Aladino and myself, Maya. After a 5-year complete refit to our boat, we are finally out sailing, about to explore one of the most wild and beautiful coastlines on Earth. Join us for the northern voyage.
We are speeding our way towards Ocean Falls, and if all goes well and we actually make it there tonight, this will be the last day of sailing north on this journey before we start to go south once again. Certainly doesn't mean the adventure is over, because the southern trip is going to take us to the west coast of Vancouver Island, the open Pacific Ocean, and some really incredible remote locations. But as far as the northern trip goes, what a way to go out. I wasn't expecting such a beautiful and warm sailing day this far north and at this time in the season. Ocean Falls tonight, if the wind holds.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
The very short history of Ocean Falls is that it was a company town, built around a large pulp and paper mill. But it grew into more than just a simple mill town. It had a theater and a swimming pool, and even an Olympic swim team that sent several swimmers into the Olympic Games. But when the mill stopped making enough money, the town was essentially abandoned. And in a rather odd move, the province actually came in and bulldozed some, but not all, of the buildings. Today, there's a very small community of people who still live there year-round, amongst the crumbling buildings. We sailed for hours. The hills, mountains, and islands kept rolling by. Apart from an occasional navigation marker, the landscape exists outside the scope of humans. There were no houses, roads, cell towers, power lines, or even clear cuts. The land looks completely undisturbed, almost prehistoric. If a pterodactyl suddenly swooped low over the boat, I don't even think I'd be surprised.
We are having an absolute blast. So we're on this inside passage, and of course to the left of us here are islands, but behind them is the open Pacific, and that's mostly where the wind is coming from, today at least. And between the islands are those passages that let the wind through. So every time we approach one of those passages, then the wind funnels through and it comes a little more from the bow, and then we have it beam on, and then as we get further away from the pass, then it comes a bit from aft. But then we have a lull just for a brief moment, and then we start picking up the winds from the next pass. When we have that beam reach condition, that's what she absolutely loves. We've been doing 6.5, 7 knots consistent, which is just wow, yeah. And being an inside passage means there is no swell, no waves, the displacing of water, but without rocking or moving. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty awesome to witness. We still have 50 nautical miles to Ocean Falls. Weather is changing, looks like rain. It'd be nice to tuck away before getting wet. And there isn't too many options, so it's either tucking away somewhere in this area or pretty much having to go to Ocean Falls, arriving in the dark. Around the corner here, looks like there's a good sheltered bay, so we're aiming for that instead. And tomorrow it shall not be too much distance to still make and arrive with daylight. We've had a blast today. It was wonderful sailing, but yet we did not make it, and that is okay. We could, but yeah, I'd really like to tuck away before the rain starts, which, whew, fingers crossed, could be any minute now. Mainsail is down dry. I can see the rain, it's coming. But, oh, looking back, now I understand why we were screaming along. Look at it. Beautiful wind and just flat. Oh, that was amazing.
We tucked away for the night, ready to continue early the next day.
Good morning. It's a new day. Maya usually gets up a little earlier, and she's working on editing, like most days, and I get up, I study the charts, study the route, the weather, possible anchorages along the way. Also, it seems like there is a low pressure coming our way, but it will not arrive for like 2 days. By then, we're definitely in Ocean Falls. Yeah, this is the place we found ourselves in, by the way. Beautiful. Almost like a lagoon. Perfectly round. Now it's low tide, and there's the narrow little entrance.
Goodbye, sweet sunflower. Thank you for the joy you have brought.
You see, never know what to expect. That's the nice part of the surprise. And these are fatties. Oh, a female. Female has to be released. Look at the eggs. She's holding them in. Well, we've been told something like this early in the season, that they're all male first, but then as they age, they turn into females. So now we can expect starting to see females. Here we go, the first one. Hopefully not all of them. Nope, this is a keeper. They're big ones. beautiful downwind sailing conditions out here today. So we've only taken the Genoa out.
As we drew closer to the town of Ocean Falls, I felt really strange, like I just really didn't know what we were about to find. I've been doing a lot more research about Ocean Falls. It's really interesting because in several ways, it is an abandoned town in the sense that, you know, it once had a thriving population and a economy, and now those things, there's a very tiny population and there are some economic activities that happen there. However, there seems to be, from my research, more things there than I was actually expecting. There's a dock apparently with power and maybe water, fingers crossed.
Oh, the place has superfluous power.
Yeah, it's got superfluous power because they have this whole hydroelectric dam there, which supplied power to the whole town, and now apparently the power is actually used to power a Bitcoin mining operation, which is present in the town, which is so interesting. This super remote, like boat or float plane access only place has a Bitcoin mining operation. But there's also apparently a little store there. I have no idea what you can buy, but I'm super intrigued. So it's gonna be, I think, a really interesting mix of a feeling of abandonment and you know, ghostly buildings combined with, you know, an actual living presence there and actual things happening in the town. Yeah. I don't think I've ever been to a place quite like that, so I'm really intrigued to arrive. We're about 10 nautical miles away, not too far, so let's get going. Just ghosting into Ocean Falls, we've entered the sort of final channel that will lead us there, and it's quite a lot narrower than the one we were in previously. And I really like the narrow channels on the coast here. They're really beautiful because it's just mountains and granite on either side of you. They're very dramatic. There are quite a lot of sport fishing boats around here, and I imagine that most of them are probably coming from Shearwater or Bella Bella. Of course, I don't know exactly. Maybe some of them are coming from Ocean Falls, who knows? But there also is a ferry appearing behind us. And that's another kind of odd part about Ocean Falls is despite there being, you know, like tens of residents, like very, very few, there is a ferry that services the town. And it's unusual. I mean, I don't know, there's so many islands with much larger populations that don't have ferry service, but I guess there just was a ferry dock there when the town was thriving, so they have kept it up and continue to have ferry runs. As it drew closer, what we thought was a ferry from a distance turned out to be some sort of supply barge. I don't think I've ever been so intrigued to arrive to a place and see what on earth is going on there.
I have indeed learned something from all of our inlet excursions. Now it is starting to funnel. We are scuttling along. Yeah, way too fast for trolling.
There's an odd feeling to this, knowing that the narrow saltwater passageway is the only route in and out of town, thinking about how many people have come and gone along this stretch of water. What would it have felt like to slip past these tall cliffs and know that your home lay just beyond the next corner? And what remnants of those homes were we about to find? Sailing in, we passed the Martin Valley, which is a few kilometers outside the main town of Ocean Falls, and is where the majority of present-day inhabitants now live.
All right, we just turned the Starlink on so that we could do a bit of research because we didn't know about this. But yeah, this is the Martin Valley. But indeed, I mean, everything looks quite well kept and well cared for. Now the town proper is emerging into view. We've just turned the corner. I can see the dock. There's several other boats at the dock, so I hope that there's room for us. I cannot wait to explore.
The once grand Martin Hotel, at one point one of the biggest hotels in British Columbia, stands sentry over the inlet. Behind it, the hydroelectric dam pours continuously into the sea.
We rolled into Genoa just not to be rushed. Now we have time to take it all in. There's some gusts still blowing through, but it actually has quite a bend to it, the end of the inlet here, and we can see it's quite roaring past the point, but it's pretty calm in here. And then, wow, yeah, we can see the huge waterfall in front of us. It's pretty epic to see that wall of water. Well, let's dock and go walk around town.
The dock was quite well maintained. Our first impression of town was not at all the abandoned kind of feeling that we had expected. As we kept walking around, the strange juxtaposition that this town is began to take shape. Colorful umbrellas beneath crumbling buildings. Okay, can we go now? I don't like it, Chats. I liked the ice cream stand more. Deaf ears. Okay, bye-bye. Understanding Ocean Falls will take a long time, and as passing visitors to the town, I don't think we'll ever really be able to grasp how much this place meant to the people who lived here, and to those who still live here. In its heyday, Ocean Falls had a population of about 4,000. It had all the amenities you'd need in a town. It had a sense of identity and spirit. And it's strange to walk around today knowing this history and seeing the fierce love that the present-day residents still have for this place. Yet also walking unmistakably in the shadow of so many decaying memories. People who grew up in this town, from what I've seen on the internet and through my research, have really positive memories of growing up here. It brought up a lot of questions for me that are impossible to answer. Questions about what life on this coast used to look like and what it looks like today, and what the right direction to be moving forward even is. Ocean Falls has an ice cream shop with colorful umbrellas, and an inn where travelers can stay, and a post office that gives out free postcards, and a ferry dock with a ferry that visits about once a week. There's a real present-day life here, but there's also a whole lot of unmistakable past. Ghosts that haunt these buildings as the rain tries to pummel them into the earth. Big commercial kitchen. That's creepy. In trying to come up with a succinct way to describe this place, the best I could come up with is that it's an inhabited ghost town. An oxymoron, but that's what this town is. So we wandered around trying to just get a feeling of things, but in next week's episode, we'll try our best to dive a bit more into the history of this place and try to make sense of it. I also am excited to talk about some of the personal connections that I actually have to this town, because there is a reason why we visited. Beyond it just being an intrinsically interesting place, I have a bit of a personal connection to it that made me really want to see it even more. So join us next week as we explore more of Ocean Falls, and a sharp turn in the weather explains why the people who live here call themselves the Rain People. As always, a huge thank you for being here and for watching. So yes, next week we will explore a bit more of Ocean Falls, and then from there we're going to continue into one of the just most amazing places we've visited on this coast, which is Yucot Bay Hot Springs, a wild natural hot springs in this incredible lagoon. It was just absolutely out of this world. That is going to be our northernmost terminus, and from there we're going to start the journey back south, and I'm going to have to figure out what I call this this series of videos on the southern journey, since the northern voyage might not work anymore, but we are still in the north of the world, so maybe I'll keep it, I don't know, open to suggestions. As always, everyone, huge thank you for being here. Big thanks to the folks whose names are now appearing on screen for always going above and beyond to make sure that Magic Carpet keeps being produced. A really big thank you to all of our patrons, without whom these episodes wouldn't be possible. We are so extraordinarily grateful to be audience funded. It really means a lot, and you know, in the modern era of AI and just massive digital saturation of everything possible vying for your attention on the internet, it means a lot that you are here with us, and that, yeah, there's like a real audience following our story that really keeps us moving forward. Thank you. All right, with all that, we will see you in Ocean Falls for the next episode. As always, talk to you next Friday.